night at the World Center of Racing. It's the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series season opener from Daytona. The talent runs deep. It's a great mix of youth and experience. 20-year-old Tyler Reddick tries to become just the second driver to win back-to-back Daytona truck races. Matt Crafton, a two-time series champion, has raced the track here 15 times, but he's never taken it to victory lane. Veteran Johnny Sauter has won here before. Now he's with a new team as he starts a new chapter in his career. They'll all start out chasing rookie Grant Enfinger, who won the pole in qualifying. It's going to be fast, it is going to be fun, and we're getting close. Fans are in, the conditions are perfect, and we're getting ready to go racing at Daytona. Let's go trackside for opening ceremonies from Daytona International Speedway.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise and remove your hats as the Embry-Riddle Air Force ROTC Cadet Color Guard presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Reverend John Long III from the Tubman King Community Church offers tonight's invocation.
Let us pray. Gracious and almighty God, as we come before you this night, seeking your divine favor upon all that is going to take place in this arena this night, we ask, oh God, that you bless every driver, the pit crews, keep us all safe. And then we ask, oh God, that as you protect those who are here, you protect those who protect us around the world. And we give you honor and glory in Jesus' name. And may we all together say, amen.
Here to perform our national anthem from Palm Coast, Florida, Tiffany Thomas.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockies glad, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Beautifully performed. Daytona Rising has given us our first motorsports stadium, and we're ready to give you the season opener. NASCAR Camping World Truck Series getting ready to drop the green on the 2016 season, and we couldn't be more excited about it. A lot to talk about tonight, including the young guns on the big track and all those veterans. You know they're going to be running wide open tonight. You better be running wide open, right? Along with Michael Waltrip and Phil Parsons, I'm Vince Welch. Glad to have you with us tonight. Phil, the young guns, there's a lot of inexperience, more than a dozen drivers here for the first time. How are they going to handle it?
13 drivers are here for the first time. Guys, I've been coming here my entire life, and I have never seen racing like we have here in the truck series on this racetrack. They're all over this thing, 2 and 3 wide. For guys like William Byron, he won the K&N Championship last year. He's never experienced anything like this. He ran the ARCA race last week, and they were single file pretty much. And we've also got other guys. How about Rico Abreu? Now, we saw him win the Chili Bowl the last 2 years. But that racetrack would fit in between pit road and the racetrack here at this place. He's never seen anything like it. So in order for one of these young guys maybe to get to victory lane, Michael, they're going to have to go through some battles.
Yeah, and I saw some stuff in practice, Phil, that I haven't seen this early in the week. We saw that outside line form up and really make some progress. Usually at the beginning of this race, everybody knows it's important to bide your time, be patient, run some laps off. We see a long line on the bottom of the racetrack. But then when they bounce to the outside, it takes them a while to make progress. But in practice, Timothy Peters went up on the outside. You see him bouncing into the back of Tyler Reddick and making a move on the high side. As they race through 3 and 4, side drafting will be important. How you slow down the truck that's inside of you and then ultimately get a big run off the corner that gets you ahead of that inside line. I'm looking forward to these guys dicing it up.
You forgot the middle. Some of these guys are going to shoot the middle.
You know, and we're going to see 3 wide. And 4 wide. 4 wide, but
it's not wide enough for 4 wide.
There's so much craziness and the speeds are so fast. How do you preach patience to these young guys? Because they're going to have that too.
It's paramount, Vince. You have to be that way the first 30, 40 laps of this race. You got to log some time. You got to get rid of the butterflies so you can settle in and go to battle.
And don't make any mistakes on pit road either.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's the easy part, right? Yeah, we got to go to pit road and make it happen too, huh? Oh, we're getting ready to get going. It's going to be exciting. Can't wait. But first, we got to get the command for those drivers to fire up those engines. Let's go downstairs and do it.
And now, for the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome your Grand Marshal, Director of Origination for Westar Energy, Robert Day.
Drivers, start your engines.
Are buckled in, the engines are fired, all that's left is to drop the green flag on the season, and we're going to do it next from Daytona. Back at Daytona International Speedway on FS1, getting ready to drop the green flag on the season opener for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. 32 trucks rolling off. Of course, this super speedway is so famous, Mike, as we take a look at the Camping World track description.
That's racing perfection to me. Nobody has done it better than Daytona International Speedway. It's the most fun track we race on. The 31 degrees of baking and those long straightaways means the foot's on the floorboard. The aerodynamic draft is how you are successful here at Daytona.
This thing is built for speed. Let's take a look at our Camping World race analysis. Race 100 laps, 250 miles. You see our pit window somewhere between 33 and 38 laps. Estimated pit stops too. Our winner last year was Tyler Reddick. Remember, we've got that caution clock at 20 minutes.
We take a look at the starting lineup tonight in that front row. The first time ever, GMS Racing swept the 2 spots. Grant Enfinger winning pole, and Johnny Sauter, new to the team, will start on the outside.
And everybody in the garage area is talking about Sauter, not only for this race tonight, but for the championship. This team is looking strong.
How about Matt Crafton, 2-time champion, back in row number 3 with Daniel Suarez, going to win anytime now.
John West Townley won at Vegas last year. Cody Coughlin, his eyes will be wide open. Never seen anything like this, I can guarantee you.
Tyler Reddick won here a year ago. William Byron, a heralded rookie.
How about Rico Abreu? We talked about him winning twice in the Chili Bowl.
Chris Fontaine always battles his way to the front in these truck races at Daytona.
Ryan Truex had a top 5 here a couple years ago.
Tyler Young ran well here last year.
Ben Rhodes, a very heralded rookie, a former K&N East champion.
Bobby Gerhardt, the ARCA champion at this racetrack. He wins more here than anybody.
It's been fun. Michel Disdier from France in the field tonight.
Former series champion Travis Quaffle back there in row 16.
Ben Kennedy struggled in qualifying, had a mechanical issue, but he'll start at the tail of the field tonight, and we'll get the green next. Back at Daytona, getting ready for the season opener of the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Vince Welch, Phil Parsons, Michael Waltrip up in the booth, and downstairs, it's Hermie Sadler, Caitlin Vincey, and Matt Yoakum. Let's check in with Hermie.
Well, Vince, Matt Crafton has had a tremendous Camping World Truck Series career. Back-to-back champion in 2013, 2014. 6 wins in 2015. But one racetrack has always been the Achilles heel for Matt Crafton. That's here at Daytona. But Matt tells me with this new chase format, he knows his team can win every week He doesn't have to points race at Daytona. He's going for the win. Let's see if he can get his first win tonight. He's only hit one top 5 in 15 starts at Daytona. He looks to improve upon that tonight. Caitlin?
Well, Herbie, this time a year ago, Tyler Reddick found himself in victory lane for the truck season opener, and talking with him just a bit ago, he's hoping for a very similar result. But he told me this is going to be a very difficult race to win. The good news, he has 2 Brad Keselowski Racing teammates to work with in that draft, and that would be Austin Terrio and Daniel Hemrick. But another thing on his side, the team owner, Brad Keselowski, has also been checking in with the team and offering advice where he can as well on how to get around this racetrack. Matt?
Caitlin, change is indeed the biggest trend in 2016. It also touched a veteran, Timothy Peters, and his 17 Red Horse team. They retooled in the offseason, returning only 1 crew member and the over-the-wall guys from 2015. Now, the last time we were at a speedway race was fall last season at Talladega. Now, Timothy Peters, he led a third of that event, and then ended that day in victory lane. Now, his team improved on that truck in the offseason, took it to the wind tunnel several times, so they retooled on that. They're pretty excited about their speed, but Timothy also improved on himself. He changed his workout program. He dropped 20 pounds. He thinks that will be a huge advantage for him later on in the season.
Let's get a word with Timothy Peters. A lot of changes going on down there. Timothy Peters, you got a new guy on the box. You got a new sponsor on the hood. You've lost 20 pounds. How excited are you for this event here in Daytona?
Mikey, I'm excited, buddy. It's what a great feeling to be back at Daytona. We come to the green, and thanks to Greg Corneli and everyone at SRI Performance for jumping on board our Red Horse Tundra. Triad engine is awesome. Hopefully we can stay up here and have a shot at the win tonight. I think we do.
Well, we appreciate you talking to us while you're coming to the green, friend. Have a good night.
Thanks, Mikey.
Take a look at our onboard cams for tonight.
Yeah, that's a familiar sight with Tyler Reddick, but he's in the 29 driving that Ford Performance onboard camera. Cooper Standard on the side of that truck. He will start from the 12th spot.
How about we jump on board with a kid from Ohio starting 9th in the Jegs Toyota. That's Cody Coughlin making a start for Kyle Busch Motorsports.
How about we ride along with our 2-time series champion, Matt Crafton. Take a look at Matt inside. That's the Toyota onboard. He will be starting from the 6th spot, and he's going to have a very special look for us with his bumper cam.
Speaking of special look, I'm going to take you to the front row. Johnny Sauter starts from the front row. Everybody's picking him to be a guy that could win the championship and this race. He's going to roll off from the 2nd spot in his Smoky Mountain Herbal Snuff Chevy.
Final pace lap. The green flag awaits. What are they feeling right now?
This is the calm before the storm. They're anxious. They're grabbing hold of that steering wheel. Somehow you're going to have to relax and be patient like Michael was talking about. But it's hard to do here.
Can you imagine how much fun we're going to have over the next 6, 8, 10 months as we talk about these trucks racing their way to Miami? There's a new caution clock. There's a chase for the championship at the end of the year. And we've got a bunch of hungry rookies in this field.
And one of the rookies is Grant Enfinger. He will lead from the pole. He is in that yellow truck. He has chosen the outside line. His teammate is Johnny Sauter on the inside. They're going to lead us to green. The green flag is out. The 2016 Camping World Truck season is underway.
Enfinger pulls to the inside. That's some teamwork there. Johnny Sauter let him get a bit of a jump down to the inside. And now they're going to race down into turn 1.
Enfinger with a slight edge. Austin Terrio on the outside, lined up 10 rows deep.
Remember how good Austin Terrio was here last year. Had a top 5 finish. Led some of this race. Great view from that bumper cam from Matt Crafton.
And he is all over the back of Terrio, pushing him up toward that 33 truck of Enfinger.
That's how that outside line works. You were talking about it, Michael. Got to have a little help up there.
Enfinger on the inside in the yellow truck. That's his teammate, Johnny Sauter, right behind him.
Now, isn't that what it looked like a lap ago?
At about 60 miles an hour? Let's do it at 180 miles an hour.
And what's important to note, Vince, these guys are being very respectful of one another right now. They're not clobbering into the back of them, bumping them, trying to get pushes. They're not side drafting that much. But every lap that goes by, that type of activity will increase. And it gets down toward the end of the race when you start doing this aggressively, as you see Johnny Sauter bouncing off the back of his teammate to try to grab that lead.
And remember, that's legal. You can't lock on, but you can bump.
Johnny was doing it perfectly. He was just bouncing his partner right out in front. And that's where he's gone. He's got a bit of an advantage over the second place truck on the outside.
And look how close they are together, side by side. There's no room for error.
And look how they wiggle around, Vince. This is 190 miles an hour. There's no margin for error, and these trucks are unstable at times.
Huge leads for Grant Enfinger. He's got a full truck length right now over that side-by-side battle for second. Matt Crampton thinking about making the 3 wide. No, he's going to bump Ontario.
I think he's trying to see what shocks Austin's got in there. Look at that view, man. That's a great camera angle. How long will that camera last, Bill?
You wouldn't think it would last long with what Matt's doing to it now.
We addressed the caution clock at the beginning of the show. You see that up in the left-hand portion of your screen, top left. That starts at 20 minutes. It will tick down, and when it reaches 0, a caution will come out. A yellow flag will come out, and we'll have a caution. Now, if we get a caution before that clock reaches 0, it will reset. It's a new rule here in the Camping World Truck Series. Keep an eye on it. We don't know what kind of factor it will play, but the crew chiefs have definitely been looking at it as a strategy play.
Nobody knows what kind of factor it's going to be.
But it just definitely made the crew chiefs' jobs harder. They've got to decide whether to pit right before that caution comes out, if the caution flag or the caution clock comes into play, or whether to stay out on the track and pit after that.
How about Austin Terrio on the outside of the leader, Grant Enfinger? Terrio finished 4th here a year ago. It's a part-time deal. We got a problem. It's the 44, and that's Martins.
Tommy Joe Martins, that's probably going to be out of caution. There's enough damage to the right side of that truck. Track officials are taking a look at the racetrack now, seeing if he's losing any debris, but pretty significant contact with the right side of that truck.
He came right in front of the flag stand there, and I watched the officials closely looking at that 44 truck to see if anything was falling off of it. I think they've decided that there's no debris on the track.
Martins was running 23rd at the time. Now the caution is out for debris.
You just have to wonder, Phil, if that was a case of bump drafting gone wrong. I've been awful early in this race to have blown a tire.
Yeah, Tommy Joe is one of those guys that's never been here in the truck.
It did
Looks like he cut a tire down, didn't it?
Did have a tire issue.
The yellow is out for the first time. Restarts, always fun. We'll have them today. Welcome back to Daytona, the season opener for the Camping World Truck Series. An early yellow and some early takers. Hermie Sadler, the 11 of Ben Kennedy, was one of them.
Yeah, Vince, Ben Kennedy came down pit road, fuel only. He had to start at the rear of the field, as you mentioned earlier. A oil line fitting was left loose on his qualifying run. He did not get a time speed. Started in the back, came and got some extra fuel. Should set him up for a run a few extra laps later on a green run, if necessary.
I like that, Vince. Open up our options a little bit.
Up to the far right of your screen, Tommy Joe Martins in that white 44 up into the wall. Significant right side damage. He's been to the pits and back out.
I wonder if that 86 truck knows how lucky he just was.
For racing, under caution, will come green next time by. This is lap 8. We'll go downstairs and check in with Caitlin Vinci.
Well, Vince, Austin Terrio and that 2 team have already been able to lead some laps here at Daytona, but his crew chief, Buddy Cisco, already encouraging him to get into fuel conservation mode.
Anything you can do to save fuel for me now? Well, help me make a shorter stop later, but already doing it. Every race we do, the fuel mileage race.
Austin told me before the race that he wants to win this race tonight, not leave anything on the table. The reason being, currently he only has a 1-race deal with this 2 team. So a win here at Daytona would help encourage more races for Austin Terrio in the Truck Series in the future. Matt?
Caitlin, down on the grid before the race, Matt Crafton spent a lot of time with young gun Christopher Bell, talking to him about the nuances of the draft, using his hands to describe several moves and how to move around within the draft. And that education continued under the caution.
Christopher, he did a good job, but his spotter's got to tell him when I'm on the guy in front of us. So we were a 3-way lock right there. Yeah, that's what's worrying me. And then that double zero's doing the same thing with him.
Crafton told me there's so many rookies and people that have so little experience here at Daytona. He would love to run with some of the veterans. but there's so many young guys in the field, it's hard to pair up with a veteran.
I love the veteran role that Matt Crafton has taken. He's helping Rico. He's helping Christopher Bell. He's really doing a nice job with these young drivers.
He'll help anyone. He knows if he helps a kid get better, less chance is going to mess him up. And Matt's just a real caring, giving guy.
And Christopher's not a teammate.
Manufacturer teammate, both in Toyotas, but Christopher Bell with Kyle Busch Motorsports and, of course, Matt Crafton with Thor Sport. Getting ready for the restart. Austin Terrio, the leader on the inside. Grant Enfinger on the outside.
Enfinger took the outside. His teammate Johnny Sauter's right behind him. See if they can push that outside lane to the lead. We saw Terrio do it from the high side.
Well, I like that inside line with Matt Crafton. We talk about the veteran leadership of Matt Crafton right now lined up behind Terrio.
Crafton hasn't had great results through the years here at Daytona. Just one top 5 in 15 previous starts, but he was so excited about the piece that they brought here for this race this weekend.
How about that push that Enfinger got from his teammate Johnny Sauter out into the lead? But if he's a good teammate, he's not going to pull down in front of Terrio. He's going to stay out in front of his teammate Johnny Sauter on the outside, try to get him clear of Terrio.
Well, one good way to do it, too, Phil, is you got to drop down to the bottom and block the run if Terrio gets it. So it's Enfinger's job to stay kind of fluid and get in both lanes, trying to cut off the low lane and then help the high lane. And I think that's what he's doing here.
That lead pack has broken away a bit.
And Johnny Sauter said, I saw what you're doing, teammate, but I got to go.
I've got Timothy Peters behind me, and we're going.
And I just have to tell you how good that feels to look in your mirror and see Matt Crafton and see Timothy Peters. Those guys know what they're doing. They're not going to get you in trouble. When you have a rookie pushing you, you don't know if he knows exactly how to do that job.
On board with Cody Coughlin. That's John West Townley just ahead of him in the orange and black truck.
Cameron Haley, the 13 truck on the inside. Cody's doing trouble. Tommy Joe Martin's probably as a result of what happened earlier, probably cut another tire down. The truck was heavily damaged from that first incident that brought out our first caution.
And notice that caution clock had reset after the initial caution. So we've run a couple of minutes, and now we've got another yellow again, brought out by Tommy Joe Martins.
Guys, I know it's been a few months since we were at Talladega, a year, obviously, with the truck since we were at Daytona. I forgot how nervous this makes me. I know these guys at any second are just a couple of inches away from a big crash. When you get to pushing each other and you're side drafting, those things get to bobbling. It can cause a heck of a mess.
And you wonder, we're on 11 laps of 100. Why are we bumping it out? Why are we pushing now?
I just think you got to there's one school of thought that you have to learn. You got to figure out what it's going to take to get to the front. You get on the outside lane, you got to push in order to find out if that's where your truck works the best. You have to study if you're planning on winning this race throughout the event to make sure you know exactly what to do later.
That's Tommy Joe going right through the middle, right in front of Timmy Hill. What a fortunate break for Timmy Hill in the 49 truck that he was able to avoid.
Well, that's just a great job of driving. He reacted quickly, but not too quickly, didn't overreact, and got his truck to the inside. That's a great job.
Martin's going to the garage. Timmy Hill may look back on that as Brandon Brown may from the initial incident involving Tommy Martins, because both of them missed contact by about a foot or less. So they may look back on that at the end of the night and say, well, we dodged a bullet and ended up getting a pretty good finish tonight.
I think Brandon Brown, that 86 truck, got a little contact from that first incident with Tommy Joe Martins, but he was able to hold on to that truck and stay on the racetrack.
You know, at the end of the night, the guy who wins the race is probably going to have had a close call or two. But it's not always the guy that just wins or finishes in the top 5 that looks at the night at the end and says, hey, we had a successful season opener, but boy, we had a couple of close calls out there.
Well, you can't run 100 laps here without having a few close calls, and that's for the guys like Johnny Sauter, Grant Enfinger running up front. There's going to be close calls for everybody.
Okay, 13 drivers in the trucks here at Daytona for the first time. We've had a couple of yellows, but you guys were talking about a little bit of bumping, a little bit of grinding. Have they calmed down any at this point? Have the nerves settled through these?
I think maybe the nerves have settled. I don't know about calming down, but the nerves have settled.
I don't know. I think, Vince, it's also live and fluid. Every lap is a different adventure. You learn things. You see things that you hadn't seen before. I don't think there's any time to relax yet.
The pits are open. We'll see if there are any takers. We had a handful that first go around under yellow, and there's a long line of them coming right now, led by Johnny Sauter, who is the race leader. Caitlin Vincey's down there waiting on that 2 truck of Austin Terrio.
The 2 of Austin and Terrio has been looking strong all throughout the course of this race so far. One of the teams opting to pit. It looks like they're going to be taking fuel only, no tire changes for the 2 truck. Matt.
The game plan is similar for most of the trucks in my area, not wanting to lose track position. Fuel only for Timothy Peters, Hermie.
The 21 of Johnny Sauter, fuel only, a wedge adjustment. The 33 Grant Enfinger also fuel only. He wins the battle off pit road. Grant Enfinger up front. That's the 18.
Yeah, the 18 of Cody Coughlin. Wow. Under yellow for the second time tonight. Tommy Joe Martins, both times. Green when we come back. What's America coverage provided by Goodyear. Superior performing tires to face challenging conditions on the track and on the road. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. Just a gorgeous night here in Daytona Beach. Temperature today at about 70, cooling down into the nice comfortable temperature here this evening.
That's my favorite place on earth. What a beautiful view. What a spectacle this Daytona International Speedway is. How much fun is it to watch these trucks? A lot of strategy going down on pit road, Matt. What happened to the 18 when he pitted?
Well, he was making his way down pit road to his pit box. Wes Ward was counting him down, and he drove past his pit stall. So they called him back in. They were going to do fuel only, but they brought him back in, and he just did 4 tires and fuel. Caitlin?
Tyler Reddick and the 29 team. You're the only team who has yet to come down pit road. Talking with the crew chief, Doug Randolph now. What's your plan for strategy?
Well, with this new shot clock, we're pretty sure with the fuel we have in there, if it goes green 20 minutes, that we can make it to that caution. So that's what we're playing for here. It's brand new for everybody. We've tried to calculate, lap times, how many laps we're going to run in that 20 minutes, and we feel confident that if we run under green, that we can make it to that next caution.
Thank you, Doug.
See the 19, that's the teammate of the 29. The 19 is Daniel Hemrick. He has just left pit road. He came in and topped off for fuel and almost had contact with the 07 of Michel disdier.
Yeah, wow. Very, very close. I thought they might have had contact, but it looked like they narrowly avoided it there.
Doug said he was confident they could make it all the way at the caution clock, but he didn't sound too confident about that. Said they were trying to weigh out the complications of the shot clock and how that might affect their race. And Phil, just doing the quick math here, I don't think they can quite get there if it goes 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. And if they do have to fit before the caution comes out for the shot clock, and then he'll be running at such a reduced rate of speed, he will have no one to race with, and they're running 2 seconds faster in the draft than he could by himself.
Well, when he comes out, if he happened to catch that lead draft and got in the back of that, then they all pitted a couple of laps later when the caution clock goes off, it might work for him, but there's a lot of things going on right now in that team's pit area, and they've just told the 29 truck, you're fine, buddy. We're going to run to this caution clock, and then we'll pit. And he doesn't have a calculator, so he hadn't figured it out. The driver hadn't figured it out yet.
Well, the caution clock hasn't gotten much work because we've only had a little bit of time tick off before we've had another caution. Tommy Joe Martins has brought it out both times. So our first section of racing was 3:45. Our second section of racing under 2 minutes.
The only thing Tyler Reddick knows for sure is he's the only one that stayed out. And that raises a bit of a question mark in your mind.
So Tyler Reddick on the inside, Bobby Gerhart on the outside. We have restarted back to green at Daytona.
What about Bobby Gerhart? So successful down here in his ARCA car. He's got his 36 pickup truck right up the top 5.
He's only won 8 times here in the ARCA series.
Looks like he's a bit of a roadblock right now, though. A couple of trucks jumping to the outside. 3 wide. We talked about that in the pre-race.
Yeah, Bobby's in the middle. He doesn't want to be there. Nothing, and he's still wide open. He hasn't backed off or hit the brakes. Those guys just have that head of steam. They left him by himself, and they're just going by.
That's a helpless feeling.
Just swallowed him up.
He'll work his way all the way back to the back of this pack.
And he can start all over trying to work his way back to the front. First time we've seen a big break on that outside lane, and that's because of the start that Gerhart got. It slowed down that outside line, but here they come, led by the very strong, fast truck of Grant Enfinger.
Right behind Enfinger is the 88 of Matt Crafton. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Vince, that move you just saw a few moments ago was by plan. Crafton told the spotter, Jason Hedleski, tell Christopher Bell, I want to shuffle the 36 to the middle. We'll make the outside work. We'll organize it, and then we'll shuffle him back. We'll work our way up to the front. You should hear Crafton on the radio. He was telling the spotter, talk to the two. Talk to so-and-so. It's like he's an air traffic controller trying to dictate how everybody else should form up in the draft.
Wow, 3 wide coming into 4s. Johnny Sauter got out of line and put Infinger on the outside. Now Crafton is right behind Sauter in that middle line.
How about Matt Crafton went with his old teammate, Johnny Sauter?
Well, there was no future in what Infinger did. He jumped to the outside of Sauter. He should have just rolled off the gas and got behind his teammate, because when you go high here and try to run 3 wide on your own, you're done. And it's a great example of that. He looks as slow as Bobby Gerhardt right now did on that start, and we know he's got one of the fastest trucks in town.
And he's going to end up back there with Bobby Gerhardt in the space of a lap.
At the front of the line is Tyler Reddick. He's got Ben Kennedy right on his tailgate. Timothy Peters in the white 17. Let's go downstairs. More from Hermie.
Well, you guys saw the 21 of Johnny Sauter being pushed to the front. His spotter is Tab Boyd. They tried to time it for him to jump up to the outside lane, pick up his teammate Therio of the 33. The timing did not work out correctly. You saw the result. The 33 of Infinger went all the way to the back.
Boy, guys, it's amazing. As soon as you jump out of line just a little bit, somebody steps up in, and all of a sudden the line forms behind, and you get sent.
And nobody's exempt, too. And you don't even have to make a mistake. You can just get shuffled out, and you'll go straight to the back. We saw Cole Custer do it just now in the 00 truck.
What about that start? We saw Bobby Gerhardt fall to the back. He didn't qualify well. We said, well, he just doesn't have a fast truck. And then we saw Grant Infinger do it. He was on the pole, and he fell back just as quickly as Gerhardt had. But look at that outside line now with Terrio. He's able to drive up to the outside, making his way to the front.
That's his teammate in the 29, just ahead of him, Tyler Reddick. Reddick, the only truck on the track who has not pitted yet tonight.
Let's give a call out to Ben Kennedy. Started in the back after problems qualified. He's up to the 3rd spot, battling for the lead.
Great to see he has his teammate Timothy Peters, that 17 red and white truck, right behind him. Well, how about William Byron right behind Timothy Peters? We haven't talked a whole lot about William since the start of this race. He's up there now running comfortably in the top 10.
High school senior, by the way. If you wonder what your kid's doing on a Friday night, Mr. and Mrs. Byron's son's running 190 miles an hour at Daytona.
On board with Johnny Sauter.
Got a pretty good push from Matt Crafton. Pulls him up alongside of Ben Kennedy in that Jacob Construction Toyota.
Mitchell Kennedy starting at the back of the field. He pitted on lap 6. Everybody else, other than Reddick, came in lap 13. So that's how Ben Kennedy gained all that track position, and now he's right in the mix at the front.
How about Reddick getting shuffled out? Looked like he threw out an anchor.
You got to watch that mirror, Phil.
2 inside. And 2 inside. That's the last one to go. You go to the middle right now. Middle's open. Middle is open.
Tyler Reddick won this race a year ago. He knows how to get it done. But, boy, if you get out of line, you're going to pay the price no matter who you are.
Pretty much the safe way to play this first 50, 60 laps is to plant your nose on that yellow line and just stay there. That way you're not going to get shuffled to the back. You got to play defense. You got to watch that mirror and not let them get on the inside of you. But that's a safe way to run the race early.
If you stay against that yellow line, double yellow line, you can't get shuffled to the middle. And you're not going to go back but so far.
The green 21 of Johnny Sauter at the front of the field. Driving with a new team this year. He's got a new crew chief. Former winner here at Daytona.
Watch Johnny move over. He's, as you were talking about, he's just playing, just trying to make sure that the trucks behind him stay side by side.
One of the rookies we've been keeping an eye on throughout the course of the weekend, Rico Abreu in the 98 truck. More on him with Matt.
Vince, Rico knows every race will be a huge learning curve. Now, his process started last night. Matt Crafton took him up to the spotter stand for the dual event. He put a headset on. He listened to his spotter, Derek Nealon, who's also Kyle Larson's spotter, and just listened to the cadence, the information. But what he took away from the most, and he's going to try to use tonight, is the fact that the spotter is so limited in visibility and also the closing rates. There's much more on the shoulders of Rico in this event.
Yeah, guys, you have to realize how far away these spotters are when these trucks are on the backstretch. Whoa, we see them now dancing around there. Those spotters can't see that.
That was a near 88.
I'll go back to the two.
Johnny Sauter's playing the game. That's his spotter saying you got the 88.
Watch them here as hard to turn. Go back and forth. Yep. Perfect. Beating off both. Perfect. You're good. Same with the two for a second. Get them 88. Get them boost. Go 88. Yeah. Cool. That's perfect. That's perfect.
How long can you be perfect, though? That truck of the 88 of Matt Crafton with a big push from Christopher Bell there, he had a lot more speed than Sauter. Sauter planned it perfectly, but now he's going to get shucked to the center if he's not careful and watch him fall like a bag of rocks. No more perfect. And they tried. They worked at it. It looked like one time before when he pulled up in front of the 88 that he wasn't going to be that he was barely clear.
And he was lucky to only have dropped a handful of positions. Most of the other guys we've seen get out of line, they've gone straight to the back.
Yeah, that was a nice recovery by Sauter. But think about it, Phil. If he had stayed on the yellow line and just led the race, sure, those guys on the outside would get a run, but he wouldn't have been put in that vulnerable position.
Now it's Matt Crafton at the point, the two-time series champion. Won 6 times last year, coming off a career best season, but a season in which he didn't win the championship. He won the season finale last year at Homestead. Now he's trying to open the 2016 season with another trip. A couple of yellows, couple of cautions, 5 different leaders. Matt Crafton currently on point in that bright yellow 88.
You can see the caution clock is ticked down there to under minutes, so we're halfway through this run. But the thing that I'm seeing is just the intensity ticking up and up and up.
From the time we started the race, we've had this intensity. We've had two distinct lines since we started this race.
But they're bobbing and weaving more. They're getting more aggressive with their pushes and side drafting, and that's just a recipe for a big crash.
Well, remember, we've run almost 30 laps now on the same set of tires. Very few guys have put tires on yet.
A little wiggle there from Crafton as Christopher Bell got into the back end of the 88. You know, it's hard to believe Crafton in 15 previous races here had only led 2 laps here at Daytona prior to tonight. And he's been out front for 5 laps now, so already a lot more, but boy, they've been nervous laps led.
I love Crafton. He's got the experience. And look at Christopher Bell right there, giving him that push. He has gotten so much tutelage from Kyle Busch as to how to bounce off the back of that and not disrupt his truck. You can see the knowledge these young kids have gained already, leaning on their veteran racers that are also owners in the Truck Series.
How about Terrio with a little push from Cameron Haley? Terrio in that 2 truck. Cameron Haley, that 13, pushed Terrio out to the lead. Now he jumps down in front of Crafton.
Really impressed with Austin Terrio, the 3rd truck in the Brad Keselowski Racing stable here at Daytona, but he has been strong throughout practice.
Didn't they tell Terrio that if he won this race, he might get to run more?
Yes, they did.
And he's
got incentive, right?
He must really believe that.
On board with Johnny Sauter.
Look at Ben Rhodes. Look at Daniel Suarez. Look at those trucks pounding into each other. How do they keep doing this and not mess up?
And remember, 13 of these drivers have never been in a truck here at this racetrack.
And you know what that means? So they've never seen anything like this. You can describe it until you've been out there in the middle of it. You just won't believe how intense it is.
I think the side drafting is where we're going to get in trouble. When these guys try to side draft to keep that other line from going forward, I think that's when we're going to have problems because these trucks just don't follow a straight line. They bounce around a little bit.
And it's all one pack.
And you can see how the outside line is just diving right over at that inside line, trying to slow their momentum. You can really stall out a truck if you're able to get yours in the right position, preferably on that right rear quarter panel. You can take all his momentum away. See Cameron Haley, he's stuck out there. It's the first time we've really seen this much of a lead for that inside line, Phil.
Yeah, John West-Tolley, that black number 05 right behind Cameron Haley. He's tucked right up underneath that truck, so it's not like there was a big gap.
Shows you how important having a a fast truck is to lead that outside line. Seems like just an average truck can't make things happen out there.
At the back end of Johnny Sauter's truck. Moved over to GMS Racing. Teammates with Grant Enfinger and Spencer Gallagher. The 9 of William Byron, K&N East Series champion a year ago. Timothy Peters just ahead of him.
William, you're doing a great job here, staying up in the top 10 right now, running in the 6th spot. Well, that's what they would love to see is that inside line just line up like that. But those guys on the outside aren't going to let it happen.
And if you're William Byron, 18 years old, getting your feet wet here at Daytona, you're stuck between Timothy Peters and Johnny Sauter. You're riding in a pretty nice place. His spotter's saying, just stay right there.
See if that's going to be anything of significance or what the crew thought of it as they took a look at it.
That was the time to pit. They were going to be on pit road. The caution flag was going to come out. The field was going to slow. They were going to get back on the racetrack without losing a lap, be ahead of every single truck that came back to pit road under the caution. But some of them got wrecked.
Isn't it kind of ironic? The caution clock sort of caused the caution.
And it didn't expire. It did not expire. There were...
Look at flat tires for William Byron. That probably both front tires flat.
Take a look at it, and this is as they're trying to get down to pit lane and get down to speed.
Watch the yellow truck of right there. Cody Coughlin. He ran in the back of Spencer Gallagher, and that caused that mess. And you can see the 9 truck of Byron sliding his tires. He should have come on to pit road. That would have been a free pit stop for him. Now he's having to do it and lose all his track position. But you see. Yeah, they're contact into the back of the 18.
Looked like Ben Rhodes, maybe, in the 41 truck, ran in the back of Cody Coughlin.
How
Christopher Bell gets some damage there.
Oh, look at Sauter tiptoe through there. Here's Cody Coughlin right now. Listen.
I think there was definitely some contact from the back. Then it was a long for the ride, got into the inside wall pretty hard.
Watch Sauter. This is an experienced veteran. He knows. Look how far to the left he is. That's where you want to be, except for a truck comes sliding by him on the inside. 2 trucks.
Unbelievable job by Johnny Sauter. What a veteran move by him. Then he had to avoid Suarez on the outside.
Sauter was on the left side trying to stay away from it and had 2 of them slide by him on the left side. Another near miss.
Coughlin was wide open when he noticed that the truck ahead of him, Gallagher, was slowing for pit road. I think he backed off. Don't know if he could have avoided hitting the 23 truck or not, but he got hit from behind. It looked like maybe by Ben Rhodes as well.
We talked about some of these drivers that's never been through anything like this. They did a great job racing on the racetrack. We came to pit road, and unfortunately, that's when we see the problems.
What has he gathered up there, Phil?
It looks like a lot of dirt there on the front of that Silverado.
I always said Daytona and Eldora have a lot in common. The way
they have some dirt.
They have a lot of dirt, and there's always a tight pack racing toward the front, and a lot of action.
You don't think you're going to need a shovel when you come to the race, but you never know.
Isn't that NASCAR racing at its best? Okay, checklist, you got the shovel, right?
Yeah, we got baseball bats, sledgehammers, shovels.
That's the 18 of Cody Coughlin that they're taking a look at. Wow, it has been exciting. Austin Terrio, the leader at Daytona. Back at Daytona, approaching the halfway mark in the season opener. Caitlin Vinci.
Well, Austin Terrio has spent much of this race up front. He told me he didn't even get any drafting practice at practice because the primary car was so good. He's come down pit road now for a 4-tire stop. Now we take a look at John Hunter Nemechek in the middle of your screen. He has not given much feedback over the radio. Pretty pleased with his truck. It's going to be fuel and 4 tires for him.
Pat Crafton was pleased with that 88 truck. He just wanted a small fine-tuning change, an air pressure adjustment in the front to work a little bit more tightness into the nose of that 88.
Matt Crafton taking 4 tires, was the first one off pit road. Lots of drivers getting 4. This is why we were yellow right here.
Back at Daytona for the season opener of the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. It's a 100-lapper, 250 miles. We're almost halfway, lap 46, under yellow for the third time tonight. Cody Coughlin was involved in that accident that brought out the yellow. He's with Matt Yoakum.
His truck is being pushed back to the Truck Series garage. And Cody, can you walk us through what happened?
Yeah, everybody's all tight, here at Daytona, going wide open and, lift, and they just stopped in front of me, I'm watching the replay here and see, I tried my best to stay off of the 23 there, but they just checked up so hard I couldn't stay off them and I got hit from behind. So I'm not going to pretend to be excited or optimistic about it because it's not a positive thing and there's nothing really we can take away from that in a good way. But just happy that Jags and Spillfix were on the car or the truck rather for tonight, and let's go to the next one.
Communication with the spotters trying to relay who's going to pit, who isn't going to pit. Were you told that the folks in front of you were going to be pitting?
I just was told, some guys peeled off the last lap and they might be doing the same, but we're up on the racetrack under green conditions, so you don't let off because you think somebody might be pitting because you're on the racetrack. You expect them to get below the line, but I'm not saying it's anybody's fault. I'm just saying it's one of those deals. Everybody's close together and we made contact, and it sucks that we got hit.
Yep. Thank you, Cody.
Yeah, it sounded like when we first started that interview that he really wasn't that aware, I think, that the people in front of him were going to pit.
Which is a little bit surprising.
Yeah.
Let's check in with Hermie.
Vince, the full truck of Christopher Bell has been to pit road about 4 different times under this caution. The first time they came down pit road, it was before pit road was actually open. You can see trying to get down pit road to miss some of the action and got hit right there in the left rear quarter panel area, and that is really the only damage.
Team, and we had almost a 30-minute red flag, so it gave these teams an opportunity to get some pieces ready. We know Matt Crafton needed some work done to his left front fender, gave time for Junior Joyner and his guys to get stuff ready. We saw all the damage on the left side of John Hunter Neiman's truck, gave his guy some time to get stuff ready.
Well, some drivers now, they've crossed the line, so now that ticks down 6 laps to go. I think we should start considering what we might be dealing with here in regards to overtime. We have a new overtime rule and an overtime line to consider, and how this race may finish up.
It'd be a real good chance for that. We'll get a restart at the start-finish line. If we get over to the line on the backstretch, that will be considered a clean restart, and we will finish this race with the next flag. We'll either come around and get the white and then the checker, or if the caution were to come out, then we would freeze the field, and that would end this race. But we could have multiple attempts to get that clean restart.
Yeah, a lot of guys are going to be close on fuel anyway, so they can't hardly handle getting multiple attempts at a green-white checker. The line is located in the center of the backstretch, basically an extension of the start-finish line. And the reason why that line was put there, Phil, is NASCAR felt like, after talking to the drivers and the teams, that by the time you got to that line, the restart was rolling. You were up to speed, and there wasn't going to be anything crazy that could cause a problem once you crossed that line. Now, you could have a crash, but it wouldn't be because of a slow car on the restart or anything like we saw with the problems at the restart over at Talladega last fall.
Yeah, exactly. We obviously the start-finish line on down towards turn 1 at Talladega. We had a crash coming off the trial before the car at the field got to the start-finish line. That was not considered a restart. Now we're going to make it a little bit clearer.
This is a patch job, and remember that truck's going to go 190 if things go to plan, and I just don't really foresee that patch holding up so well.
We call that 200-mile-an-hour tape, but I'm not sure as much of that tape's on there that it'll make it.
Don't have that to contend with yet. Still 5 to go. Don't go anywhere. The finish is next. Well, they're back on track, and this is going to be difficult here. The way the truck is set up, I think they're going to have to address something. What do you think?
Sometimes I wonder if people can see, but for Chris Fontaine, it's obvious that he really can't see anything.
Yeah, Fontaine did such a great job of driving through the crash, and then he ducked down off the apron onto the grass, and the grass just tore his whole nose right off. Obviously caused some damage to the front end, and then his hood blew up. So his problems went from bad to worse.
So while they get the hood down on Fontaine's truck,
watch the crash develop when Peters gets a big run on the 13 truck. The third truck on the inside bumps the guy running second, turns him to the outside, and that causes this mess. See the 78 of Fontaine back at the bottom of your screen with William Byron? Those two trucks in the back, they're just creeping through, doing a great job. Right there. You can see right there Fontaine. He decides late that he's going to have to duck off the apron to miss that piece of debris. Bam! Look at the front end destroyed on that truck. On the other hand, Byron stayed on the road. No damage to that 9 truck. He's in good shape to race for this win still.
Final laps ticking away. We are going to have one heck of a finish when they get them lined up and we get a restart to settle who's going to win the season opener at Daytona. And remember, not just a win, but with the new chase format, the win carries that extra significance. Almost, depending on who it is, would guarantee a chance to run in the chase and compete for a championship.
What does Shiggy Hattori do if Ryan Truex is able to go to victory lane here? That truck is not scheduled to run full-time. We know they would like to run full-time where they'll have a little bit of incentive if they get to victory lane with that truck.
Because to be eligible for the chase, you must meet the criteria. You must attempt to run the first 16 races. They were not planning to do so, but if you win this race here tonight, maybe that does give you that extra incentive to try to make something happen to continue to come week to week. One to go, by the way.
We talked about some underdog teams that are not in a position to get a great finish. Look at Timmy Hill, Travis Waffle. They've raced their way up inside the top 10 along with Tyler Young. He's there. Brandon Brandt, we saw him slide through that wreck as well. These are teams inside the top 10 late here at Daytona.
Keep an eye on Kligerman right there, third in line on the inside of the 92. I think he got through that incident without any damage. There's a lot of trucks right now in the top 10 that have some damage. Watch out for Kligerman. He knows how to win on these restrictor plate tracks. He won at Talladega.
And Vince talked earlier about guys that narrowly missed disaster, one of which is that guy, the Ford trucker, Christopher Bell. We saw him spin and almost spin out down in turn 1, got on the apron, saved that truck. Then he came to pit road, got in a crash on pit road, was nearly in the crash on the back straightaway. He finds himself restarting fourth with a chance to win for Kyle Busch Motorsports.
So give me your pick. Who's going to win it?
I'm going to go with Timothy Peters. New crew chief, new sponsor, new attitude. Peters wins it. Who do you like, Phil?
I like Johnny Sauter. He's been here. He's been to victory lane here before. He has a strong truck.
My guy's been to victory lane, too.
I know it. He has. Both of them have been to victory lane here and at Talladega. And what about the guy's leading, Ryan Truex?
I was going to say,
let's you pick him.
Hey, you're going to have to twist my arm. I think it's been unbelievable what Truex has done tonight.
You're taking Truex, Vince. I hope you like your pick. But just remember the big upset that John King pulled here a couple years ago. Got to victory lane, and he said, this was fun. This is my first feature victory. I mean, the Daytona 500 is the feature, or the Daytona Speedway is the everyone's feature, and he got a win here.
How about Travis Quapple? He's had, I think 2 runner-up finishes here in the truck race. Right now he's running in the 6th spot.
This will not be considered overtime. When we take the green, there will be 2 to go. On the front row, it's Ryan Truex in blue Toyota. Right next to him is Johnny Sauter in the green Chevrolet. Timothy Peters and Christopher Bell in row 2. They're coming to the green. The restart is on. 2 to go at Daytona. Who's going to win it?
It may have a lot to do with who's in that second row, who's doing the pushing back there.
Timothy Peters was very aggressive with his push to Ryan Truex. And look at Sauter. He's trying to crowd down with Truex.
A lot of door banging going on at the front.
They're still dead even. Christopher Bell lost a little ground to Sauter. Look at that inside line going.
You can't push. You can't consistently push.
On the yellow line now. Don't get too far out. Right there. Doing good. Doing good. Looking good. Looking good. If y'all in the breakaway here now for you.
Truex, Peters, 1-2.
We're not done from hearing from Johnny Sauter. Johnny's going to have a big run.
Truex trying to keep the field behind him.
Keep it behind you. Keep it behind you. Keep it behind you. Let it
The
go.
white flag is out. They're going to crash with a big run. They're crashing.
Christopher
Bell upside down. the checkered flag, but the yellow is out. And Johnny Sauter will win the season opener at Daytona, and Chevrolet will go to victory lane for the first time at Daytona in the Truck Series.
That is awesome to see there, guys.
Window net down and Christopher Bell coming out. A lot of people breathing a sigh of relief right there. Wow, what a ride taken by Christopher Bell. Incredible.
That was scary. That truck was running nearly 190 miles an hour when it started flipping, and fortunately for us and for Christopher Bell, NASCAR has done a great job with the safety of these trucks.
Johnny Sauter takes the checkered flag. The winner. Sauter, his 11th career win and his second win at Daytona. Marcus Richmond is the crew chief, and he's with Hermie.
Marcus, I've seen you win some races before, but you guys seem like you're overly excited about this win. New team, new opportunity. You go to victory lane at Daytona.
Yeah, when you just make a switch and you have a new team and you got all this pressure, Marty Gallagher has given us everything to go win races. Chevrolet, ECR, I mean, we have every tool to win every race. And I have a driver to win every race, I have guys to win every race, and I just want to thank everybody at GMS for all their hard work, and ECR and all their hard work, because this thing was unbelievable tonight. Tab Boyd up in there, and Johnny Sauter won that race tonight, and it is unreal. And hi home to my little girl, Tinley, and my wife, Tracy. Man, this is awesome.
He's excited. We're going to victory lane.
Plenty of reason to be excited. Congratulations. And well, that's what GMS, when they brought Johnny Sauter, they brought him here to win, and he did it. Christopher Bell, believe it or not, walked away from it, climbed out under his own power, walked away. Watch the ride taken in the 4 truck on the outside, second in line.
Peters gets bumped. Looks like William Byron got jumped by the 86. Look at Timothy Peters on the inside as Christopher Bell tumbles down the front straightaway. Timothy all the way to the inside of the racetrack is, you know, a lot of new pavement down there, guys, and that makes such a huge difference. They don't get any grass. A lot of huge pavement scrubs off a lot of that speed.
I count 13 rolls for Christopher Bell. Watch it.
Well, Daniel Hemrick almost went underneath that 4 truck of Christopher Bell.
It's a testament to the safety of these racing vehicles that Christopher Bell can take that kind of ride and drop the window net and climb out.
Very fortunate that these trucks are as safe as they are. Look at this truck just get out of control. Probably about the fastest part of this speedway, Phil, right out of the tri-oval.
It just starts tumbling.
That young man with his dirt racing background, I'm sure he's had many barrel rolls in his career, but none like that.
And Michael, I know you've been upside down. I've been upside like that. The flipping's not that bad, but it's the landing that hurts. And that thing landed about 6 or 8 times pretty hard.
What about Brandon Brown? He slides through there. Looks like he's going to be credited with a 4th place finish.
I think he might have got in the back of William Byron, and that's what got in the back of the 4 of Christopher Bell and turned him sideways.
Wow. But we saw, experienced driver like Timothy Peters. Let's watch this view.
You cover the record, back it up. Back it out.
Wow, he had to turn hard left to avoid the flipping Christopher Bell.
You're right, Phil. All that pavement down there gave those options.
Watch Timothy Peters second in line on the inside after the contact.
That looks a whole lot like the angle that Kyle Busch rode into that inside wall a year ago. But all that pavement and that wall has been relocated. There's safer barrier all in that area there.
And just barely nudged that safer barrier with all that pavement to scrub off the speed.
What a run from Ryan Truex. Finishes second tonight in Heats with Matt.
Definitely an impressive run. Now, you just had a chance to look at the video, and that explained a lot for you about what took place.
Yeah, I
lost my helper. I lost my pusher. Cameron Haley was pushing me really well. I don't know who pushed me to the lead, but thanks to whoever it was, I just got to thank these guys. I mean, this truck wasn't a truck a month ago, and I didn't have a ride 2 weeks ago. So I tried to push you, man. I was pushing everything I had. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, it all just came down to who could bump the best without completely hooking up. And I think I was the first one to make it to the front doing that, and everyone caught on. So it's tough not to win, but I think we're going to get us one this year and run for a championship for sure.
Will we see you with this team at Atlanta?
Yes, we will be there. We'll be at Martinsville. We've got a lot of races with sponsorship. We've got some unsold that we need to sell. So, like I said, me, John Lunsum, Shiggy Tori, we all want to run for a championship. I know Toyota wants one, so it feels good to be back. So, I mean, second sucks, but I'll take it.
Great night.